السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. أعاذني الله وإياكم منها. Dear brothers and sisters, our Prophet alayhi as-salatu was-salam, he tells us in a hadith the importance of an organ in our body, which is the heart. He says in a hadith that إن في الجسد مضغة, that in the body is a piece of flesh. إذا صلحت صلح الجسد كله وإذا فسدت فسد الجسد كله ألا وهي القلب. If that piece of flesh is upright, then the rest of the body becomes upright. And if that piece is corrupt, then the rest of the body, the rest of the limbs become corrupt. So since the heart is the leader of the rest of the body, then it should be given more importance. And from the ways of protecting the heart is to protect it from النظر الحرام or النظر المحرم, the sight which is haram, which is prohibited. Because there are three pathways to the heart. One of the pathways is the ear. The second pathway is the eye. And the third pathway is the tongue. So if the person, he safeguards these three pathways, and he is aware of that which is entering his heart through these pathways, then he is someone who has protected and safeguarded this organ, which is the heart. So today, inshallah ta'ala, we are going to talk about the danger of an-nadhr al-muharram, the sighting or seeing, looking at that which is haram, and how it affects the heart. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he told us in Surah An-Nur, قل للمؤمنين يغضوا من أبصارهم ويحفظوا فروجهم ذلك أزكى لهم إن الله خبير بما يصنعون. He said, "O Muhammad, tell the believers, غضوا من أبصارهم, tell them to lower their gaze." So al-ghad min al-absar, what is the difference between closing the eyes and then lowering the gaze? Lowering the gaze as in do not look at that which is haram. غضوا من أبصارهم ويحفظوا فروجهم, and tell them to protect their private parts. And this came after protecting the eyesight. Why? Because this is what leads to looking or falling into haram through the eye will lead to falling into haram through the private parts. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he ends with إِنَّ اللَّهَ خَبِيرٌ بِمَا يَصْنَعُونَ, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is aware and he has detailed knowledge of that which they are doing. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching us. So we have to be aware of that which we look at. So it is an amr from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is a command. And our Prophet alayhi as-salatu was-salam, he warned Ali ibn Abi Talib radiyallahu anhu from, freeing his eyesight and just looking everywhere. And he said to him that the first look is for you. When the eye catches something, unintentionally, unexpectedly, this is, alhamdulillah, from the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is not held against you. But the second look, so you're supposed to turn away. When your eye catches that which is haram, you're supposed to turn away. But if you continue looking, or if you look a second time, then this is against you. He told Ali ibn Abi Talib that this is against you. So my dear respected brothers and sisters, there are fawaid, there are benefits from lowering the gaze. And Ibn al-Qayyim, he mentions 10 benefits. 10 benefits of lowering one's gaze. The first one is تخليص القلب من ألم الحسرة فإن من أطلق نظره دامت حسرته فأضر شيء على القلب إرسال البصر. So he mentions that one of the first benefit is that you rid the heart from regret. Because when he sends his eyesight to that which he cannot obtain, then this results in tiring the heart. Because you have shown the heart something that the heart wants. The nafs, it inclines towards some things. So you showed it that which it wants, but it cannot obtain it. So what is left? It leaves behind hasra, regret and sadness. Because the heart cannot obtain this particular thing. And Al-Asma'i, he mentions that once he was doing tawaf, and then he saw a young lady which was beautiful. And he says, فَجَعَلْتُ أَنظُرُ إِلَيْهَا, I started to look at her, وَأَمْلَأُ عَيْنِي مِنْ مَحَاسِنِهَا, and I filled my eyesight with her beauty. And then she said to him, مَا شَأْنُكَ, what is your problem? And he said, وَمَا عَلَيْكِ مِنَ النَّظَرِ, how is me looking at you going to harm you? And then she advised him and she rebuked him. She said, وَكُنْتَ مَتَى أَرْسَلْتَ طَرْفَكَ رَائِدًا لِقَلْبِكَ يَوْمًا أَتْعَبَتْكَ الْمَنَاظِرُ رَأَيْتَ الَّذِي لَا كُلُّهُ أَنْتَ قَادِرٌ عَلَيْهِ وَلَا عَنْ بَعْضِهِ أَنْتَ صَابِرٌ. So she gave him advice. She said, when you send your glance as a scout, as a messenger, لقلبك, for your heart, أتعبتك المناظر, that which you're looking at will tire you. Why? رأيت الذي لا كله أنت قادر عليه ولا عن بعضه أنت صابر. You see that which you cannot obtain in its entirety. And when you look at, that which you're not supposed to look at, whether it pertains to wealth, someone that has wealth, or you look at, the opposite gender that you're not supposed to look at, and you cannot obtain these things, what happens? This tires you. ولا عن بعضه أنت صابر. You cannot obtain these things, and you do not have the patience to withhold yourself from it. You cannot accept that this does not belong to you. This is not yours. So the first benefit is that you rid the heart from this hasra, this regret, and this agony, and this sadness. The second benefit, my dear brothers and sisters, is that أنه يورث القلب نورا وإشراقا يظهر في العين. That when you withhold your seeing or looking from that which is haram, then this brings nur to the heart. It brings light to the heart. وإشراقا يظهر في العين, and also clarity. And this nur is apparent in the eyes of the person. والوجه وفي الوجه, and also in the face of the person. والجوارح, and also in the limbs. كما أن إطلاق البصر يورثه ظلمة تظهر في وجهه وجوارحه. Similarly, letting your eyesight go and looking at that which is haram, this will bring dhulmah, darkness, to your heart and to your face and also to your limbs. And this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after He commanded us to lower our gaze, after 5 ayats, after the ayah that we recited in the beginning of the khutbah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Allahu nuru samawati wal ard. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the light of the heavens and the earth. And the Prophet alayhi as-salatu was-salam, he said that النظرة سهم مسموم من سهام إبليس فمن غض بصره عن محاسن امرأة أورث الله قلبه نورا. That the glance is سهم مسموم من سهام إبليس. It is an arrow which is poisonous from the arrows of Iblis. فمن غض بصره, whoever lowers their gaze, عن محاسن امرأة, they lower their gaze from the beauty of a woman. أورث الله قلبه نورا. Of course, this is talking about the women which is not halal for you to look at. أورث الله قلبه نورا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inherits his heart with light. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives him nur. So my dear respected brothers and sisters, do not take looking at that which is haram lightly. We live in a time where there's so much fitna around us. Women are not covering up. Since that is not in your power, you cannot get all the women to cover up and to dress, modestly. What you control is your eyesight. And because there's a lot of fitna, and there are a lot of women that are not dressed properly, this does not give you an excuse to send your eyesight. They are tested with their bodies and their beauties, and they are tested with following the right way of covering yourself. And you are tested with lowering your gaze and withholding your eyesight from the haram, from that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prohibited. The third benefit is أنه يورث صحة الفراسة. That it brings perceptiveness and insight. So the person, he sees that which is harmful, that which can bring him harm in the future, and he stays away from it. And he sees that which will benefit him, and he goes ahead with it. This is the firasa. Another benefit, my dear brothers and sisters, is أنه يورث القلب سرورا. When you withhold, when you lower your gaze, that this brings joy to the heart, وفرحة, and happiness, وانشراحا, and expansion, أعظم من اللذة والسرور الحاصل بالنظر. It will bring you a joy which is greater than the joy that you would have obtained from looking at that which is haram. For that joy is very restricted, and it is very little. But then it leaves behind a scar on the heart. So the effect that it leaves behind is greater than the negative effect that it leaves behind is 10 times greater than the little joy that you had. So the joy that you gain from lowering the gaze is greater than the joy that you would have gained from looking at that which is haram. Why? وَذَلِكَ لِقَهْرِهِ عَدُوَّهِ بِمُخَالَفَتِهِ وَمُخَالَفَةِ نَفْسِهِ هَوَاهِ. Why does it bring you joy? Because you have overcome, you have prevailed over your enemy, which is the shaitan. بِمُخَالَفَتِهِ, by opposing him. وَمُخَالَفَةِ نَفْسِهِ هَوَاهِ. And also you have overcome your nafs, following your desires. So this brings happiness. The happiness that this brings is greater than the joy that you feel when you look at that which is haram. And the Salaf, they said, وَاللَّهِ لَلَذَّةُ الْعِفَّةِ أَعْظَمُ مِنْ لَذَّةِ الذَّنْبِ. That they swore that the pleasure that one gets from al-iffah, chastity and purity, أعظم is greater من لذة الذنب, than the pleasure that you get from the sin. The next benefit, my dear respected brothers and sisters, is that lowering the gaze يسد عنه باب من أبواب جهنم. That lowering the gaze will block and it will close a door of the doors of Jahannam. Why? فإن النظر باب الشهوة الحاملة على مواقعة الفعل. Because the nadra is where it starts. The nadra, looking, نظرة فابتسامة فموعد فلقاء. Glancing and then smiling. So you glance at the opposite gender and then you smile. فموعد, and then an appointment, or you meet with this person. فلقاء, and then meeting. So where did it start? It started from the nadra. You looking, this is where it started. So this will lead to you falling into haram, you falling into zina. And this is why, my dear respected brothers and sisters, we should be aware and be careful of pornography. There are so many people that are tested with pornography. Why is this? We talked about that the person he overcomes his nafs and the shaitan. So if that's when he lowers his gaze. If he does not lower the gaze, what happens? Then the nafs overtakes. Now the nafs is the boss, is the ruler. So what happens? This is where we see the addiction of pornography, or other things, other fawahish. Why? Because now the person, he cannot control himself. He has become a slave to his nafs. He has become a slave to his nafs. And look at those who are addicted to pornography, those who are addicted to drugs. They will come to you and they will cry and they will tell you, what can I do? How can I stop this? How can I get rid of this? They're not in control anymore. The nafs is, the desires and the shaitan are in control. So we have to be very careful, my dear respected brothers and sisters, especially with our children. When our children start to watch pornography, because you were very careless with their upbringing, you did not know what they were watching. You gave them a phone when they were very young, and you were busy with your work and other things. And then, they started to watch pornography and they grew up on this. They didn't have a chance. Masakeen, they are They are victims to your bad parenting. So they never have a chance. They grow up this way and they become addicted to these things. And this leads them to bigger crimes and maybe even sometimes rape. And this is why it started with another. It started with looking. So this blocks فإن النظر باب الشهوة الحاملة على مواقعة الفعل. So the glance or looking at that which is haram is where this will lead you to falling into zina, falling into that which is haram. So therefore lowering the gaze will block a door of the doors of Jahannam. The next benefit, my dear respected brother and sister, is أنه يقوي عقله ويزيده ويثبته. That the lowering the gaze, it strengthens the aql, the mind and the intellect. ويزيده, and increases the intellect. ويثبته, and it makes it steadfast. فإن إطلاق البصر, for verily, releasing the eyesight and looking at everything and anything, وإرساله, and sending it, لا يحصل إلا من خفة العقل. It does not happen except from feeble-mindedness, or someone being thick-headed. It shows that the person is a safi, is someone who's very shallow in his thinking. This is what it shows, because we all know that every one of us has an aql, and then we have emotions. So whoever brings or prioritizes his aql over the emotions and the desires, then this person is the one who is smart. Because the one who is sane and who is wise, he looks at the consequences of things and he acts accordingly. But the one who is thick-headed or does not think properly, or he's not sane, he's not wise, what does this person do? This person, they follow the emotions, they follow their desires without looking at the consequences. And an example for this is a businessman. And when he invests and how he invests, he looks at that which is going to benefit him. And if he sees that something is going to harm him, what does he do? He withholds. That is a very simple example of this. فإن خاصة العقل ملاحظة العواقب. So that which is a characteristic of intellect, that distinguishes intellect from other things, is ملاحظة العواقب. Looking at the consequences of things. وأعقل الناس من لم يرتكب سببا حتى يفكر ما تجني عواقبه. And the most sanest or wisest of people is the one who does not commit something, he does not do something حتى يفكر ما تجني عواقبه, until he thinks about what that particular action can bring him. The next benefit, my dear respected brothers and sisters, is أنه يقوي عقله، أنه يخلص القلب من سكر الشهوة ورقدة الغفلة، فإن إطلاق البصر يوجب استحكام الغفلة عن الله والدار الآخرة. That lowering the gaze, it will rid the heart from من سكر الشهوة, from the drunkenness of what? Of desires. It will save you from you bringing someone, when someone is just following his desires day and night, and he is like someone who is drunk with his desires. He's not there. He's just following his desires. So this saves you from this. And forgetting about ad-dar al-akhirah, forgetting about the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the hereafter. So these things will, lowering the gaze will save you from this situation. أقول ما تسمعون وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. So the question is, my dear respected brothers and sisters, how can someone, rid himself from this calamity? If someone says that I am tested with this, looking at that which is haram, whether it is, just looking at every, woman that goes passes you as a piece of flesh, or watching pornography. And if the person is tested with these things, how can he stop? The first thing, my dear respected brother and sister, is for you to realize or to not make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ahwana al-nadhirina ilayk. Do not make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the lowest of those who look at you. Because these things, you would not do it if someone that you respect was with you and he was watching you and he had a camera on you, and you would not do this. So how about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is always looking over you? So do not make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ahwan al-nadhirina ilayk, the lowest of those who look at you. Do not become from those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said yastakhfuna min al-nasi wa la yastakhfuna min Allah, that they are fearful of the people, they fear the people, wa la yastakhfuna min Allah, and they do not fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the lowest of those who look at you, then the jaza is min jinsi al-amal. Al-jaza'u min jinsi al-amal. You will reap that which you sow. So if you make Allah the lowest of those who look at you, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will also make you from the lowest of his slaves. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will dishonor you. To Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala belongs all of honor. وَلِلَّهِ الْعِزَّةُ وَلِرَسُولِهِ وَلِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. All of honor belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deems you someone who is, does not deserve honor, then who will give you honor? وَمَنْ يُهْنِ اللَّهُ فَمَا لَهُ مِن مُكْرِمٍ. Whoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dishonors, then who will honor this person? So always know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching over you, and fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the first thing. The second thing is, my dear respected brother and sister, seek assistance through dua. Supplicate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, beg Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to rid you of this calamity. There are so many examples, even on this particular topic that we're talking about, and also other calamities where a person, he sincerely made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted his dua. There's so many examples. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts the dua of a believer if he comes with it sincerely. The third thing that can help you, my dear respected brother and sister, is to take the means of getting rid of that thing. Take the means. When you're walking, look down. When you're driving, just look ahead. Look where you're going. Do not look around too many times, because you're gonna catch that which is haram. So do not put yourself in that situation. If there's a computer in a room and your children, close their door and you do not know what's going on, why would you give the shaitan this opportunity? The shaitan is always hunting. Okay, he's sending his sahm, his arrows. He's always sending his arrows. He's looking for prey. So why would you put them in that situation? Make sure that you never leave them in that situation. All the gadgets and all the computers or TVs, they all have to be in public if you cannot get rid of them. So take these means, my dear respected brothers and sisters, and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide you. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He guides us. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He saves us from this calamity that we spoke about, and also all the other calamities. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us on this blessed day. عباد الله، إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين، اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين وأذل الشرك والمشركين ودمر أعداءك أعداء الدين. اللهم ألف بين قلوب المؤمنين وأصلح ذات بينهم واهدهم سبل السلام وانصرهم على عدوك وعدوهم يا رب العالمين. اللهم آت نفوسنا تقواها وزكها أنت خير من زكاها أنت وليها ومولاها. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك لنا فيما أعطيت وقنا شر ما قضيت، فإنك تقضي ولا يقضى عليك، إنه لا يذل من واليت ولا يعز من عاديت. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات، إنك سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين وأقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر، أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله، أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح، قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله